obviously, Shannon, Joy, I'm going to credit Sam Bradford and that Minnesota defense first and foremost. But a majority of the Giants' blame goes to Odell Beckham Jr. because Odell Beckham Jr. was the best player on the field last night for either team. And Odell Beckham Jr.
At least he was supposed to be.
He was supposed to be. You're right. But I feel like the Giants go as he goes, that he's the difference maker. He's the tone setter. He is the supremely talented catalyst for that whole football team. Even the defense can feed off the catches he makes, the big plays that he makes, or that he doesn't make. And this is a kid, as we've seen time and time again, who can pull off things that, dare I say, nobody can pull off in the National Football League. And yet, he let it happen again. Slowly but surely, a book has been built on how to beat Odell Beckham Jr., both on the field and in his head. And that book says you get physical with him early. You rough him up, you trash talk him, you insult him, you get under his skin and ultimately inside that head of his, and he will lose focus and ultimately, very quickly, lose control. And did the Vikings ever throw that book at Odell Beckham early on last night? I thought that first play, and we just saw the video, and Joy talked about it. Xavier Rhodes, I thought hit Odell a little late as he left the field to play. So he had a beef. He reacted angrily, and he deserved to react angrily. But as Joy pointed out, he slightly bumped the official. I'm going to guess that Odell said a magic word or two that the official didn't want to hear. And the flag flew because officials, thanks to Odell's previous behavior or misbehavior, are on high alert for Odell Beckham Jr. So he's got one unsportsmanlike and only one to go. So from that point, he just started to lose it. He got over physical, I thought, with Xavier Rhodes. And he started fighting back, pushing harder and harder. And he dropped one pass, if we could see it, and then another pass, if we could see that, and then a third pass on the deep ball that he usually puts in his back pocket. Am I right about that?
Yep.
Those are three very catchable balls. Got to catch that one for sure. And
that was a great defensive play, though.
Yeah, it was good. But how about, usually that's, again, I'm judging him by the guy who made the greatest catch ever against my Dallas Cowboys. You got to catch those balls. And Eli needs you to catch those balls because Eli's struggling against that defense. There's one guy who can do things that even the Minnesota defense can't stop, and it's that guy. So what happened? In the end, in the second half of what I thought was a winnable game. In fact, I'm rooting, obviously, against the Giants. I thought they had multiple chances in the second half to at least creep back in and make it a football game. Odell's targeted 5 times in the second half. He catches 0 balls in the second half. He caught 3 for 23 in the first half, and none of them had any impact on the scoreboard. Still no touchdown catches this year. So this kid is so supremely talented that I keep waiting for him to break out. I keep hoping he won't break out as a Cowboy fan. And once again, I thought he hurt his team a lot more than he helped his team last night.
He said in that soundbite, if I sneeze, I'll get a flag thrown. Well, don't sneeze, cough. Let's take the fans and the viewers back into how this all started. Last year against the Carolina Panthers, he receives 3 unsportsmanlike conduct in a game against Josh Norman. He dropped a pass, Josh Norman said something, and then it escalated from there. The NFL was so embarrassed by what transpired in New York in a nationally televised game, they institute what is known as the Odell Beckham rule. If you get 2 unsportsmanlike penalties in one game, you are to be removed from this game. So he was suspended the next game. He came back. So in 5 games since this incident, he's averaging 5 catches, 71 yards, 0 touchdowns on 9 targets. That's what it is. So he's right. Josh Norman has done the league a tremendous favor. This is how you cover him. Because if you just think you can just go out there, keep your mouth closed, and cover Odell Beckham, you can't do it. He's supremely talented. He's cat quick. He has great hands. But this is what you do. You get physical. You stay square to the line of scrimmage, and you try to get your hands on him. And if you can, rough him up along the way. If he's going out of bounds, don't let him go out of bounds untouched. Put your hands on him. This is what they're doing. And so now, if your behavior is not helping your team, it's hurting your team. This behavior is hurting the Giants. Now, when head coach Ben McAdoo says, I need him to get his emotions under control on the sideline. He comes back, I'm playing for the guys in uniform, basically dissing or dismissing what the head coach has said. Now, I need to understand that maybe my behavior, I'm being targeted. Oh, you think? What gave you that idea? Was it the $36,000 fine that you received for hitting the guy illegal crackback? Was it the pass interference that you got against the Washington team that wiped away a first down? Was it the drops that you had? You see, what can't you see that everybody else is seeing? Don't you see your production is going down? The moment you get on the field and you start talking or you start pushing back, because until then, no one had an answer how to deal with Odell Beckham Jr. Now the answer is let Odell Beckham Jr. deal with Odell Beckham Jr.
Yep.
All I need to do is get my hands on you once, say something that I know is going to be offensive to you, and now the battle is between you and I. You could care less about the Giants and the Vikings, or you could care less about the Giants and the Redskins. All you care about is beating me. So now you're playing a battle in your own mind against me.
Yep.
And that's what we're starting to see, where he would never drop the ball. He's having 2 or 3 a game. Where he would never get out of his comfort zone, say anything back, or shove a guy. He's going out of his way to do this now. And now, even in pass routes or blocking, receivers don't like to block, Skip. But now he's getting overly aggressive.
He is.
Trying to block, trying to send a message to the guys. And I said this before, and I told you this before we talked about it. On the phone when we were discussing it, I said to Skip, he's heading down that T.O. road.
You did.
He's heading down this T.O. road, and I hope, he's 23. This is his 3rd year in the league now. You have no more excuses. You can't use young as an excuse because you're making so much money. Just do the right thing. You know what you're doing.
Yep.
It's wrong. So why do you go into the game and allow them to do this? Because now we see it, now it's happening with greater regularity. I don't see who can talk to him. Every time I'm watching him play, I always tweet, take the emotion out of the game, 13. You can have emotions. You can have fire. You can have passion. You can have all those things without hurting your team with dumb penalties. And that's what he's doing. See, he's trying to equate me being emotional, me playing with passion. That's not why you're getting those penalties. You're getting those penalties because you're selfish. Because at that very moment, you are more important. You putting your hands on him, you getting back at him is more important to you than actually winning the game. And that's going to be the problem. And so until you rectify that, every DB you face is going to try to get overly physical with you.
They will.
Every DB you face is just like a running back. If he has a problem fumbling the football, tackle the ball. If a quarterback has a problem with flinching under pressure, you pressure him. And as a DB, if you have a problem with, double move him. If he bites on everything, double move him. Odell Beckham, you know what the book is? Get physical, put your hands on him. If he's going out of bounds, help him, and say something that you know that's going to be a fit. That's it.
That's it.
If he catch a pass, so be it. But just make sure you give him a little extra. Because then he's going to try to get you back.
I still can't go all the way to T.O.
He's headed there.
Who I used to call Team Obliterator, because as yet, Odell hasn't publicly, verbally attacked his head coach and his coordinator and his quarterback. I haven't heard that come from him. It's always all about Odell. And I do think, from a distance, I don't know him, but it feels like his heart is still in the right place, but it's just too big a heart for his own body. It just spills over. And there's something that DBs are saying to him, and I can only speculate, I'm not going to speculate on the air, but I can speculate in the back of my mind about what it is. I can only guess. There's some deep, hot button that they are pushing that sends him completely over the edge. And remember, the end of Odell last night, when he became a completely lost cause, the sly fox and the oldest hand in that secondary, Terrence Newman. I don't know if you crossed his path.
No, I have not.
Okay. I know Terrence, Kansas State, Dallas Cowboy originally. He walked up. he was not covering Odell, and he whispered some sweet nothing in Odell's ear. Remember this? And all of a
then pat him on
sudden,
the butt.
what did he do? Odell rips his helmet off. Well, I got to tell you, by the letter of the law, that is unsportsmanlike conduct, and he should have been ejected at that moment. Am I right?
Yep.
Should he not have been thrown out of the football game at that moment? Because something got said he just could not stomach. So he loses complete control and rips his helmet off. I'll bet Odell is smart enough to know that's a penalty. That's not being overly officiating of him. You know, it's not like we're looking too hard at him. But anybody should. I think they gave him a break last night. Am I right?
Of
Did they
course.
not give him
They
a break
did.
to look the other way and say, we're going to let that one go. We'll let you at least stay eligible to play the rest of the football game because it was on Monday Night Football and it was a pretty big game for both teams. So they just said, okay, we're going to look the other way. So I think they gave him a little bit of break at the end of that game. But I still can't go all the way to TO. But I can go, and this is where you can really relate and help me here. There's something with these diva receivers. We see this pattern of behavior consistently with Chad Ochocinco, another friend of mine, Chad Johnson back in his Cincinnati days, Terrell, then Des Bryant for my Dallas Cowboys. It's always the same where they are the world, you know, like the world revolves around them. And they get so frustrated because it's so different than the other sports where they have to wait for the quarterback to choose to throw them the ball. They can run a route, as you well used to. How many times did you run a route beautifully? You hit it and you plant it and fired off to the inside and you beat your guy by 5 yards. And for whatever reason, John Elway was under too much fire. He couldn't see you.
Right.
Or he got sacked or whatever happened. And you're like, God, I can't throw myself the football. I did my job beautifully, perfectly, unguardably, right? But you couldn't get the football
Right.
because the quarterback either didn't see you or couldn't see you, right?
Correct.
Okay.
But here's the thing, Skip. The word diva in and of itself normally is referring to a female. When you hear diva, you talk about maybe Aretha Franklin or maybe Beyonce or
But
maybe
that's-
Mariah Carey.
That's complimentary. That's in a different
No,
vein.
not necessarily. It's not complimentary in the sense in which the attitude. Maybe they're saying to him what Draymond said to LeBron. Maybe that's
In
being
that
said.
ballpark.
Right.
Yes.
So with that
Yep.
being said, but Skip, when does he realize that this is happening early in the game and then he's becoming a non-factor before the majority of the game?
Yeah.
You also must also understand is that T.O. didn't become T.O. in the beginning. He was, but you started seeing little things. He would start, throwing his arms and taking his helmet off. And so it wasn't until he became a bona fide Pro Bowl, All-Pro receiver where he felt there was nothing you can do. I am too immensely talented.
I can tell you because I was at the game. It was a Monday night game in Seattle when he signed the football with the Sharpe and took it to someone in the
Right.
box seat. Remember?
Yes.
The very next night, the Giants were playing a home playoff game, and he went and they showed him on television, and that's when I saw and knew he has arrived nationally. He's now T.O.
Right. So once he realized that, and this is what these guys do, once they realize I'm so immensely talented, look at what I can do. The 1,000, 1,500-yard seasons, the 90, 100-catch,
Yep.
season,
I
the
agree.
double-digit touchdowns. Now the team has emboldened them. It's like, we can't do without you.
I agree.
That's why Jerry Jones let Dez miss meetings and be late to meetings and miss MRI appointments. This is why. This is why Ochocinco, he's like, who else you going to throw the ball to? It's either me or nothing.
TJ. We had TJ on the show the other day.
And now you look at, Sterling Shepard. You really going to get, Victor Cruz hadn't played in almost
You're right.
3 years.
You got it.
I'm the guy.
That is correct.
So Madison Avenue, who's in all the commercials? He's hanging out with Drake, spending the night at Drake's home. It's a different era now. That would have never happened before social media. Social media is driving a lot, Skip. It's all about Facebook. It's all about likes and posts and how many followers you have. We're in a different era. This is what is acceptable now. And someone asked me, well, how would you handle Odell? I don't know if I could handle him in today's terms. But had he been playing in the 90s, well, it'd have been a different story. Let's just say, or dead, it'd have been a different story.
Yeah, I got it.
Because the locker room has a lot to do with how a player behaves. because you only get once and then, okay, look, this is not acceptable. We're trying to win here. You showing up late, you missing, that doesn't help us win. You getting penalties on the field, that's not conducive for us winning football games.
Nope.
Because the way I look at it, you're either helping or you're hurting us.
That is true.
There's no in between. There's no, well, he made a good play, but no, you either help or hurt. And right now, he's hurting this football team. And hopefully, after last night, but I wonder, does he ever go back and actually watch the game? I'm watching from a TV. You don't have to listen to the sound and hear what they're saying, but just watch and see how you're behaving when they do certain things. And then maybe he can get a clear picture of this is what everybody's talking about. Now I can see that this behavior is not helping the Giants win football games.